Look at your nails now, but not automatically. Those vertical lines you see that seem normal, they may not be as harmless as you always believed, because there is a silent pattern that happens to thousands of people. The body begins to give small, subtle, almost invisible signs, and they are ignored for years. No pain, no urgency, no alarm. And when they are finally noticed, they are already more evident than they should be. These lines could be one of those signs. And if you've never stopped to analyze this with real attention, stay with me, because what you're about to understand here completely changes the way you look at your nails. These vertical lines don't appear by chance. In most cases, they are the result of changes in nail growth. And here's the detail that many people ignore. Nails don't change on their own. She responds to what is happening in her body. In other words, what you see on the surface, it is a consequence of something that started earlier. And that's exactly why so many people misinterpret it, because he tries to treat what he sees without understanding what caused it. And that's the first point that changes everything. Your fingernail grows from a region that is hidden under the skin. That's where it all begins. This region continuously produces the nail structure. But when this process undergoes any variation, growth ceases to be uniform. And how does that appear exactly? Lines, irregularities, differences in texture. These vertical lines are literally a record of that growth, as if they were marks of what happened over time. And the most interesting thing, what you are seeing today may have started weeks ago, and that completely changes the interpretation. But here's the point that almost no one realizes. Not all vertical lines mean the same thing. Some are completely harmless. Others indicate that something has changed in the way the body functions. And the problem isn't the presence of the line. That's her standard. Depth, frequency, distribution. And almost no one pays attention to that. But when you start comparing, when you really look, you notice differences you never noticed before. And that's when everything starts to make sense. Now, look at your nails again, but this time with more discernment. Do these lines appear in all of them, or only in some? Are they light or deeper? Are they the same size or different on each finger? This matters much more than it seems, because the body rarely sends a single isolated signal. He repeats it. He creates patterns. And when you start to see these patterns, you begin to understand better what is happening. But what holds most people back? That's the next mistake. The most common mistake is simple: completely ignore, or to automatically assume it's just age. Yes, aging can cause those lines, but not in the progressive way that many people present it. When the lines become deeper, more visible, more irregular, this is no longer just a natural process. And it is precisely at this point that most people stop observing. And when you ignore small signs, you miss the chance to understand early on. If you want to prevent this from developing without you realizing it, it starts with something simple: constant observation. It's not about fixing it immediately. It's about keeping track. Keep your nails moisturized to avoid repetitive aggression. Pay attention to changes over time. This completely changes the game, because when you follow along, you notice patterns before they become too obvious. And that makes all the difference, because when you ignore it, these lines may become more pronounced, most frequent, more visible, and they cease to be a detail to become a consistent standard. And if you're only starting to realize this now, that's already a step ahead of most. If this type of content is opening your mind, sign up now, because the next point, it is one of the most overlooked and most important. There is a very common cause that few people connect: nutrition. Your body needs resources to form the nail correctly. When something is missing, growth changes. And these changes appear precisely in the structure. But the most curious thing, the problem is that many people try to fix things without knowing if that's really the issue. And that's where the interpretation starts to fail. If beyond the lines, your nails seem weaker, more opaque, or they break easily, this could indicate that something is out of balance. It's not a diagnosis, but it's a sign. And signs need to be observed together, because when multiple changes occur at the same time, the meaning changes completely, and almost no one notices that. Another common mistake: treating only appearances, sanding, hiding, applying products, without understanding the origin. This creates a false sense of control. But it doesn't solve the problem, because the problem doesn't start on the surface. It starts with growth. And until that is taken into account, the pattern continues. What really helps: consistency, continuous care, real observation, avoid repetitive impacts, maintaining balance in your routine, and most importantly, stop treating it as an isolated issue, because these lines are part of a system. And when you understand that, you start acting differently. When you ignore the signs for too long, the body doesn't stop. He keeps sending messages, but they are becoming increasingly evident until there comes a point where it's impossible not to notice. And at that moment, most people realize that this was never normal. It was simply ignored. Your body doesn't suddenly fail. He signals beforehand, silently, progressive, discreet, exactly like these lines. And the difference between realizing it early and realize too late, it's not in the body. It's all about attention. And then you start to observe. There's no going back. Now tell me, had you ever noticed these lines with this level of attention? Or is it only now that he's starting to truly see? If this video has changed the way you look at things, sign up now. Why not next? I'll show you an even more subtle sign that appears before these lines, and almost no one notices until it's too late.